Hi everyone. Today's topic is physiological anatomy of the spinal cord. Let us discuss it under the following headings: Introduction, gross anatomy, the internal structure, spinal segments in the spinal nerves, and the functions of the spinal cord. Introduction. So we know that spinal cord is cylindrical in shape. So it extends from the upper border of the first cervical vertebra to the lower border of the first lumbar vertebra. So at the upper end, it becomes continuous with the medulla oblongata, and at the lower end, um, it is called as conus medullaris. So this becomes continuous with the fibrous cord. This that is called as the phylum terminale. So this phylum terminale, it is a fibrous cord at the lower end of the spinal cord. It extends from S2 vertebra to the tip of the coccyx. So there are two enlargement in the spinal cord. So it is fusiform shaped. Here you can see the two enlargement. So the first one is the cervical enlargement, which innervates the upper limbs, and second one is the lumbar enlargement, which innervates the lower limbs. Gross anatomy. So the cord possesses in the midline anteriorly. There is a deep longitudinal fissure which is called as the anterior median fissure, and on the posterior side, so there is a shallow furrow. You can see this is called as the posterior median sulcus. So the spinal cord is surrounded by three layers as in the brain. So it is dura mater, arachnoid mater, and the pia mater. So coming to the coverings of the spinal cord, so we know that there is dura mater, the outer layer. It ends, this sheath ends at the level of S2 vertebra, in subdural space, in the subarachnoid space, both that ends at the level of the S2 vertebra, and the innermost layer, pia mater, it extends up to the coccyx, at the end of the coccyx. So blood supply of the spinal cord. So anterior spinal artery. So it supplies anterior two-third of the spinal cord, whereas this posterior spinal artery, one posterior one-third of the spinal cord is supplied by the posterior spinal artery. Central canal of the spinal cord, the conduct that runs along the entire length of the spinal cord. So the spinal cord runs so through the whole length of the spinal cord. So it contains around 140 ml of the cerebrospinal fluid. It lies in the center. It lies in the center between the ventral and the dorsal commissure. It extends into the medulla oblongata and opens into the fourth ventricle of the brain. So ligamentum denticulatum or denticulate ligament. So it is a serrated, narrow, fibrous band. So it is situated on each side of the spinal cord. It separates the anterior and the posterior spinal nerves. So it is in the its inner border. It is continuous with the pia mater at the side of the cord, spinal cord. So the outer border it is fixed at intervals to the dura mater. So inner border is continuous and outer border is fixed at intervals. So the main function of the ligamentum denticulatum is to support the spinal cord. So internal structure. So right here in the spinal cord, so the inner layer is covered with the gray matter and the outer layer is covered with the white matter. So gray matter contains cell body and the dendrites and parts of axon, whereas white matter contains ascending and descending tracts, glial cells, myelinated and unmyelinated nerve fibers. So these are the things that is in the gray matter. So gray matter is inner. Just remember it is opposite to the brain. In the spinal cord, gray matter is inner, is in the inner side, and in the outer side it has white matter. Spinal gray matter. So it is the integrative area of the spinal cord reflexes. So it is H-shaped mass with central spinal canal. You can see the spinal canal here in the center. Sensory signals enter the cord through the sensory routes, travels to two separate destinations. So the sensory nerves they travel to two destinations. One is immediately in the gray matter and elicits the local segmental reflex. So one is the local reflex, spinal reflex, and another one is it transmits the signals to the higher center for further assessment of the signal. Let us discuss the parts of the gray matter. So here is a dorsal horn. So this is the dorsal horn. So it is also called as posterior gray column. So it is a posterior horn like projection. So where the sensory signals enter. In ventral horn, this is the ventral horn. It is also called as anterior gray column. So this refers to the anterior projection of the gray column. And then lateral horn. So it is also called as the lateral column or the intermediate horn. So this is a small lateral projection between the dorsal horn and the ventral horn. So this is seen in only the thoracic segments and the first two lumbar segments. Gray commissure. So gray commissure is the part between the two sides. So connecting the which connects the two side of the gray matter. So this transverses the central canal also. So this is the gray commissure. Anterior motor neurons. So these are the motor neurons located in each segment of the anterior horns of the spinal cord gray matter. So which is the ventral column. So it directly innervates the skeletal muscle fibers. So there are different types of anterior motor neurons: alpha motor neurons, gamma motor neurons, interneurons, and Renshaw cells. So first to start with the alpha motor neurons, they give rise to large type A alpha motor nerve fibers. So this conducts the action potentials very rapidly. It is the largest neurons. These are the largest neurons. So they innervate the extrafusal fibers of the muscle spindle. So the stimulation of a single alpha nerve fiber excites anywhere from 3 to several hundred muscle fibers. So collectively this is called as the motor unit. So it is also responsible for the contraction of muscles in the upper limbs, trunk and lower part of the body. Gamma motor neurons, so they are much smaller than the alpha. They give rise to the smaller axons. Here you can see the gamma motor neuron. So this innervates the intrafusal fibers of the muscle spindle, whereas alpha motor neuron it innervates the extrafusal muscle fibers. So it is responsible for the maintenance of muscle tone. Interneurons, they are present in all parts of the spinal cord gray matter. So they are small, highly excitable. They exhibit spontaneous activity. So rapidly they fire as high as 1500 times per second. So they receive the bulk of the synaptic input either as incoming sensory information or the descending outgoing information or the signals descending from the higher center, either sensory or the signals from the higher center, either, and they help in modulating the uh, motor signals. Renshaw cells, they are located in the anterior horns of the spinal cord. They receive the input from the collateral branches of the axons of alpha motor neurons. Axons carry the impulses back to the cell bodies of the same, you can see of the same alpha motor neurons. So these are the inhibitory neurons which play an important role in synaptic inhibition at the spinal cord. So the stimulation of each motor neuron tends to inhibit the adjacent motor neurons. So these effects are called as a lateral inhibition. So this lateral inhibition helps to focus and sharpen the signals of the anterior motor neurons. Neurons in the gray matter. So to start with the neurons in the ventral horn. So neurons which have the motor functions are divided into three groups: medial group, lateral group and the central group. So the medial group, they extend along most of the length of the spinal cord. So it innervates the muscles near the midline of the body, which is called as axial muscles, and the muscles in the proximal portions of the limbs. So the axial muscles and the proximal limb muscles. That is what the medial group innervates. And it is also involved in the adjustment of posture and the gross movements. Lateral group, it is confined to the cervical and the lumbosacral enlargements. So it supplies the muscles in the distal portions of the limbs. So they are involved in the well coordinated, skilled in voluntary movements. Central group, they are represented by the phrenic and the accessory nuclei in the cervical region, and lumbosacral nuclei in the lumbosacral region. Neurons in the dorsal horn, they are involved in the sensory functions. The dorsal horn neurons are of two types. So the first one is the internuncial neurons. These neurons are located between the sensory fibers terminating in the dorsal horn and the motor neurons which are originating in the ventral horn. Next one is the tract cells. These cells receive impulses from various receptors of the body through dorsal nerve root fibers. So these axons enter the white matter of the spinal cord on the same side or on the opposite side, and then they terminate in various masses of gray matter in the brain. These tract cells, they form the considerable part of white matter of the spinal cord. Group of dorsal horn neurons. These are the nuclei in the dorsal horn gray matter of the spinal cord. So the neurons of dorsal horn are arranged in four sets of longitudinal neuronal columns from the apex to base of the dorsal horn. So these are the four sets of the columns. So let us see one by one. So the first one is substantia gelatinosa of Rolando. So it is a column of small cells. So these cells, they caps the apex of the dorsal column, here dorsal horn. This is the one. So it is presented as a gelatinous material along the entire length of the spinal cord. So it is continuous above the nucleus of spinal tract of the trigeminal nerve, the cranial nerve, and this conveys primarily the pain and the thermal sensation. It does the role in the gate control of pain. The second one is the nucleus proprius. So it extends the entire length of the spinal cord and is composed of both the internuncial cells and the tract cells. So its axons, they form the ascending tracts which occupy the anterolateral white nuclei of white matter of the spinal cord. And then dorsal nucleus, so it is also called as thoracic nucleus or the Klotz column. So this extends from C8 to L2 segment, and it is composed of tract cells. So they receive the proprioceptive touch and the pressure sensation from the trunk and the lower limbs. So you can see the dorsal nucleus here, and axons of these cells form the ipsilateral posterior spinocerebellar tract, so same side. And the fourth column is the posterior marginal nucleus. So it is formed by the marginal cells which cover the substantia gelatinosa at the very tip of the dorsal horn. So this is it. Next one is the group of lateral horn neurons. So they are also called as neurons of intermediolateral group of visceral efferent neurons. So they extend from T1 to L2 segments and from S2 to S4 segment of the spinal cord. So neuron present in T1 to L2 lateral horn. So these are the preganglionic neurons of sympathetic nervous system. In their axons, they terminate in relation to postganglionic neurons in the sympathetic ganglia. And neurons present in S2 to S4 lateral horn. So these are preganglionic neurons of the sacral component of the parasympathetic nervous system, and their axons, they leave the spinal cord through the ventral nerve roots to reach the spinal nerves. So they leave the spinal nerves as a pelvic splanchnic nerves, which are distributed to some of the viscera in the pelvis and the abdomen. Divisions of spinal gray matter into the laminae. So from the point of view of neuronal connections, the spinal gray matter can be divided into 10 laminae, and it is called as Rex lamina. So the divisions of the neuronal connections in the spinal cord gray matter. So it is called as Rex lamina. So dorsal gray column. So laminae 1 to 6, they are confined to the dorsal gray column. So lamina 1 corresponds to posterior marginal nucleus. Here you can see. And lamina 2 corresponds to substantia gelatinosa. Lamina 2. And lamina 3 and 4, they correspond to the nucleus proprius, and lamina 5, they correspond to the neck of dorsal gray column, and lamina 6, they correspond to the dorsal nucleus in the base of dorsal gray column. So the afferent fibers carrying the cutaneous sensations, they end predominantly in the lamina 1 to 6. So proprioceptive impulses, they reach lamina 5 and 6, and these also receive numerous fibers from the cerebral cortex. So 1 to 6, it is dorsal gray column. So laminae 1 to 6 are confined to the dorsal gray column. Afferent fibers carrying cutaneous sensation, they are predominantly in the laminae 1 to 6, and proprioceptive sensations, they are received in the laminae 5 and 6, and also this these laminae receive numerous fibers from the cerebral cortex. So lamina 7, so they are confined to lateral gray column or lateral or intermediate horns. So it is composed of autonomic preganglionic neurons. In laminae 8, they occupies most of the ventral horn in the thoracic region. It is made up of interneurons, and that receive terminals of vestibulospinal and reticulospinal tracts. Its efferent fibers are projected to the lamina 9. And lamina 9, it contains alpha and gamma motor neurons, and also several internuncial neurons. In laminate 10, it forms a gray matter and around the central canal, and mostly they consist of the neuroglial cells. So here is the laminate 10. So 8 and this is 9, this is 7. White matter of the spinal cord. So it is formed by the nerve fibers which are arranged as ascending and the descending tracts. In general, the white matter of the spinal cord is divided into right and the left halves. So in front it is divided by deep anterior median fascia, and behind it is by the posterior median septum. So in both the halves of the spinal white matter, it is divided into posterior funiculus or posterior, you can see here, the posterior white column, and then anterior funiculus, and then lateral funiculus, and then dorsal white commissure, and then ventral white commissure. The white matter of the spinal cord divisions. So the posterior funiculus or the posterior white column is formed by the white matter present medial to the dorsal gray horn. Anterior funiculus or the anterior white column, they refer to the white matter present anterior and medial to the ventral gray horn. And then anterolateral funiculus, they refer to the anterior and lateral funiculi collectively. And then ventral commissure, that is the white commissure, that refers to the white matter which is present anterior to anterior gray fissure and joins the right and the left halves of the white matter. And dorsal commissure, so this dorsal white commissure, that refers to the myelinated fibers running in the gray commissure posterior to the central cord. Sorry, central canal. Tracts of spinal cord. There are two tracts. One is the ascending tract, another one is the descending tract. So the tracts that transmit the sensory impulses to the brain from the receptors are termed as the ascending tracts. So tracts which transmits the motor impulses from the brain to the center to the motor neurons reaching the muscles or the glands, and they are termed as the descending tracts. Spinal segments and the spinal nerves. So the spinal cord, though we know that it is a continuous structure, so they consist of 31 spinal segments, each giving attachment to the dorsal end, the ventral root of each spinal nerve. So the 31 segments of the spinal cord, they correspond to the symmetrically they correspond to 31 spinal nerves. So the 8 cervical segment, they give attachment to 8 cranial nerves, and 12 thoracic segment, they give attachment to 12 thoracic nerves. 5 lumbar segments, they give attachment to 5 lumbar nerves. 5 sacral segments, they give attachment to 5 sacral nerves. And then finally one coccygeal segment, gives attachment to one coccygeal nerve. Spinal nerves. So each spinal nerve is a mixed nerve formed by the union of dorsal nerve root. It is formed by several rootlets in which are attached to the surface of the spinal cord. So all the sensory fibers they reach the spinal cord through the dorsal nerve root, and then there is a swelling here. You can see this is the dorsal nerve root ganglia, or also called as spinal ganglia. So there is a marked swelling in each of the dorsal nerve root, and this is called as the ganglia, spinal ganglia. And these ganglion, so they are composed of T-shaped unicellular neurons with central and the peripheral. This is the periphery and this is the center. So central and the periphery processes. So the peripheral processes they extend up to the sensory receptors in the skin. So the area of the skin supplied by a spinal nerve is called as dermatome. So remember this term dermatome. It is the area of the skin supplied by a spinal nerve. And then central process. So they constitute the dorsal nerve root which is attached to the spinal cord through various rootlets. So each of these rootlets just before entering the spinal cord they further divide into medial and the lateral divisions. So medial division they consist of myelinated group 1 and group 2 fibers and proprioceptive fibers from the muscles and other sensory fibers like touch, pressure and the vibratory sensation. And then lateral division it is composed of thinly myelinated group 3 fibers and unmyelinated group 4 fibers. Fast and discriminative pain, temperature sensations, all um, conveyed by the group 3 myelinated fibers. Slow pain and the visceral sensations are conveyed by the group 4 unmyelinated fibers. Just note the position of the dorsal root ganglia. Here it is, and this is the spinal nerve. So this is the peripheral process, and this is the central process. So from the dorsal root, you can see. So here is the central process in which enters the spinal cord, and this is the ventral root, and this is the dorsal from the posterior horn, and this is the ventral root from the anterior horn, the motor fibers. Ventral nerve root, so it is formed by various rootlets which are attached to the anterolateral aspect of the spinal cord, which is opposite the ventral gray horn. The ventral nerve root is composed of axons of motor neurons present in the ventral gray horn. The ventral root also contains the autonomic fibers originating from the lateral horn of the spinal gray matter. The functions of the spinal cord, the sensory functions. So we have discussed that all the somatic afferent impulses that enter the spinal cord only through the dorsal nerve root. So the fibers mediating the thermal and the pain sensation they enter the spinal cord through the lateral division of the dorsal nerve root, and the fibers conveying all other sensory impulses like yeah, proprioceptive impulses, touch, deep pressure, joint sense, vibration, and they all enter the spinal cord through the medial division of the dorsal nerve root. So after entering the spinal cord, all the somatic sensations they are conveyed to the brain by the following tract, that is the ascending tract. So there is spinothalamic tracts, the spinothalamic tracts. Here you can see the spinothalamic tracts. So there are ventral or anterior spinothalamic tract which conveys the crude touch and the tactile sensation. In the lateral spinothalamic tract, they convey the pain and the temperature. And there is another column which is called as dorsal column and the posterior column. So this is also one of the ascending tract. So they occupy the dorsal column of white matter of the spinal cord. So these tract they mediate the sensation of fine touch, tactile localization, tactile discrimination, pressure, vibration sense of position, and the sense of movement. So all these will be discussed in the ascending tract also, ascending tract classes also. And the motor function, so spinal cord also performs a motor function. So that is the pyramidal tract, which include the corticospinal tract. So the corticospinal tract has that has anterior and the posterior tracts, and then extrapyramidal tracts. So that includes the vestibulospinal tract, tectospinal, rubrospinal, olivospinal, reticulospinal. So all these tracts comes under the extrapyramidal tracts. So the main functions, motor functions of the spinal cord are the control of tone and power of the muscles, movements, reflexes, control of the reflexes, both the superficial and the deep reflexes, autonomic function, both afferent and efferent. So visceral afferent impulses in the spinal cord that travel through the dorsal nerve root to the lateral horns of the spinal cord. So in the spinal segments from T1 to L2 and S2 to S4. And then autonomic efferents, they travel through the spinal cord and they supply the visceral organs and they control the activity of the smooth muscles, heart, glands of the GIT, sweat glands, and the adrenal glands. So the spinal cord they also control and regulate the body temperature. It also helps in maintaining the homeostasis, that is the optimal internal environment in our body. So books to read: A.K. Jain, Hindu Purana, Guyton and Hall, Ganong, and G.K. Pal. Thank you for your patient listen.